Hey guys, it's Rob from Epic Dungeon Tiles here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create rocks for your terrain. Not sure if you can see that because it's a little bit dark, but just the different techniques I use. So I use foam. On this thing I've used all the different techniques. So I've got foam, which is the big rock, plaster, so the kind of hydrocal type stuff is this smaller rock. I've got pieces of slate and then just little pebbles and things like that. So I'll be showing you how I make them, how I kind of enjoy making them fairly quick, and you end up with something pretty cool looking. I'll show you a picture of this because you can't really see it. So let's turn to the table and get making. Let's go.
Okay, so I start off with these round bases that I bought from eBay, I think. You can get quite a few of them on there, and these are the slightly bigger ones. So the first step is to get some small rocks on here, so I just cover the whole thing in PVA, and then put some small rocks or sand, any kind of ground terrain that you normally would use. One thing in this episode I showed you the kind of grass versions that I did, but these ones are going to be snow covered versions, so the only difference is when I'm doing the snow I put down the grass instead. Okay, so I cover the 3 discs with PVA and then just lightly sprinkle them with some stones. I don't need too many, but I just like to make sure it's going to stick properly. There's a little bit of sand in there as well. Okay, so next is like the little objects that will go on those bases. I'm going to do some bigger rocks, and I'm just using insulation foam, but you can use like insulation foam, craft foam, even polystyrene. Effectively all I do is I just cut away all the corners and sharp edges until I'm left with something that kind of looks rock-like. You can see here, anywhere that looks too flat or looks too square, I'm just cutting that away. And then the next thing I do is I kind of pick at it and rub the edges so that it sort of smooths it down. But you can use sandpaper, but I find this a bit too aggressive with this stuff. Then you can see it looks like a pretty good little rock. And that'll sit on there. And then I'm doing the same with some of the bits I've cut off. I'm just cutting kind of smaller shapes to stick next to it. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this slate that I've got and then some of these slightly bigger stones, just to show you that you can kind of use whatever you like. And now I'm creating some mushrooms to add to it. You can see like I've got my hands absolutely covered because my clay was really dry, so I had to wet it down. Okay, so I just continue making some of these mushrooms and then like some flat cap ones, so basically just circular discs, but slightly fold them over a little bit so they look like flat mushrooms. And then effectively once I've done them, I just glue, sort of pick some good positions for the big rocks, generally in the center of the bases, or the log. I made a little log as well out of this clay, which is basically just a cylinder, and then I scratched along the edges with a sculpting knife. Then I glue them on and paint them with black acrylic paint, just the cheapest stuff I've got, PVA glue or Mod Podge, whichever one I've got on hand, and I just cover the whole thing. Then I put a dark brown on the base. I dry brush the base with a tan colour, and then I pick out all the rocks with a light grey. And then I pick out the mushrooms, pointy mushrooms with like a red, and then the flat ones with like that tan colour again. And then finally I add the Liquitex modelling paste to it, and you can see it like adds that cool kind of texture. And then finally I basically put PVA glue on that modelling paste and add the snow flock on top of it. That gives it a really cool texture when it's finished. Okay, the last step I'm going to do is add some grass tufts. And I got these from War Painter. I got these from eBay, I think. The War Painter eBay shop. So I just add 2 little bits of PVA glue and then stick on the snowy, well, they're called white flowers, but I always use them for snow because it looks like snow grass type tufts as well. They're self-adhesive, but I've had a couple come off, so I just stick some PVA glue down there and then shove them into it. There they are, white flowers, warpainter.net. And there it is, finished little scatter terrain. They come out really cool, and I've made some grass ones, and I think the grass ones look really cool as well. You can see there they are. Just nice little pieces that you can place around for like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or your wargaming if you make them the rocks high enough. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe and comment.